should have walked away from Selena the first night. The way her eyes clung to me, like I was oxygen she couldn't breathe without, should have been enough. But desire clouds judgment, and now I can't shake the feeling that I've been marked. It started in the cafe, where we always met. She leaned across the table whispering, her voice low and trembling. "You can't leave me, Daniel. We're meant for each other." Her words clawed at me, but I forced a smile. Told her I couldn't keep doing this. I felt the weight of eyes through the window before I even turned my head. A man in a dark suit stood outside, staring in, scribbling in a leather notebook. He didn't look away. That night walking home, I felt it again. The black sedan creeping a block behind me, engine humming like a predator. Every time I glanced back, it slowed, patient, as if savoring my fear. Days blurred, my mailbox filled with silence, until one morning I pulled out a folded note, 5 words in a jagged hand. "She belongs to us, now so do you." I froze, my heart punching my ribs. Hours later at work, my computer screen flickered and died, but not before flashing a glowing symbol, an angular looping mark I couldn't place. I went back to Selena, demanded answers. She only smiled. "He doesn't need me to tell him. They always know." I wanted to scream, but the air in her apartment pressed down on me like water. A shadow flickered outside her window, tall, watching, waiting. That night the symbol returned, this time carved into my apartment door, deep cuts into the wood, like it had been scratched there, slowly, deliberately. I touched it and my fingers shook so hard I almost dropped my keys. I couldn't take it anymore. I stormed back to Selena, begged her to end whatever madness her husband had unleashed. She just laughed, pulled me close, kissed me like she owned me, and whispered, "I wanted you so badly. I offered you to them. Now, you'll never escape." The room shifted then. From the shadows, masked figures emerged, tall, silent, dressed in dark suits. They surrounded me, their presence so heavy I couldn't breathe. The last thing I remember clearly is being dragged into darkness, my cries muffled by their chanting. Now I'm here, in some underground chamber, candlelight licking the stone walls. Selena stands beside a man I can only assume is her husband, regal and terrifying, his ring bearing that same symbol carved into my door. They watch me as I struggle against the restraints. Selena smiles, eyes wide with hunger and triumph. "You're mine now, Daniel," she whispers. The chanting grows louder, vibrating in my chest. I realize too late, this was never just an affair. It was a ritual, and I was always the offering.
I live in the basement, always have. Dark, cluttered, smelling of old carpet and dust. My monitors are the only light that matters, glowing blue against my face. Up there, in the real world, people live. Down here, I rule. Online, I'm untouchable, a king behind a keyboard. I spend my days ripping into creators, streamers, influencers, musicians. They dance for likes. I tear them apart, word by word. My insults cut, my lies spread, my comments ruin. And I laugh. Nobody knows who I am. Nobody could ever find me. At least, that's what I thought. One night, while sipping flat soda and typing another masterpiece of hate, a message appeared on my screen. "We know who you are." I stared, smirk fading. Another troll war, I figured, but the messages kept coming. Sharper, colder, too precise to ignore. Mama called down from the kitchen for dinner. My stomach twisted.
Down there?
Something was wrong.
It was getting cold.
Then came the footsteps, the creak of the basement door. He stepped in like death itself. A tall, muscular African-American man in his 40s, dressed in black tactical gear. Cold eyes, silent movements. A hitman. He was on me in seconds, pinning me to the chair, hand crushing my throat. My heart thundered so loud I thought it would burst. He leaned close and whispered, "Next time, you won't see me coming." And just like that, he vanished into the night, leaving me broken in the chair. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. Every creak of the house I thought was him returning. Mama thought I was sick, but she didn't know. I was already dead inside, waiting for him to finish the job. Every sound outside my window was a threat. Every car that slowed near the house made me flinch. I wasn't hiding behind usernames anymore. I was prey. But I wasn't going down easy. I boarded up windows, shoved furniture against doors, turned my basement into a fortress. Wires, nails, traps, anything I could cobble together. My paranoia became obsession. I lived in fear of footsteps on the stairs, and then, one stormy night, he came. The basement door groaned open, slow and heavy. I felt him before I saw him. He moved like a shadow, silent, deadly. No hesitation this time. We clashed. My trap sparked chaos, but he was stronger, too strong. His fists slammed into me like sledgehammers. He pinned me down again, arm crushing my throat. No warning this time, just the end. My vision blurred, my body screamed, and then, bang! The sound tore the world apart. The assassin jerked, eyes wide before collapsing onto the floor. Smoke curled from the revolver in the doorway. Mama, hair wrapped in a scarf, wearing her simple house dress. Her hands shook, but her eyes didn't. They were locked on me, fierce, blazing. "You think I don't know what you do down here, Derek?" she said, voice trembling with both fury and love. "You brought this into my house." I couldn't save you from yourself. But I wasn't about to let somebody else take you from me. I sat there, blood on my face, gasping, staring at the woman I'd ignored for years. I'd spent my life hiding behind screens, tearing strangers apart, and in the end, the only person who saved me was the one who'd been above me all along.
I had just gotten off my shift at the burger joint, smelling like grease and fryer oil, my feet aching from standing all day. My car had been down for a week, so I ordered an Uber. Marcus pulled up, loud bass shaking the car before I even opened the door. He looked like he stepped out of 2003. Oversized throwback jersey, fitted cap tilted, and a thick gold chain bouncing on his chest. I slid into the front seat. Bad habit, I know. But I just wanted to stretch my legs after standing all night. He grinned at me in the glow of the dashboard. "Name's Marcus. You into real hip-hop, not that TikTok mumble mess?" I gave him a polite smile. "Yeah, sure, some of it." He was funny at first, cracking jokes about back when rap was real. I half laughed, but too tired to care. But then his voice got serious. "You know, I've been rapping over 20 years, 2 whole decades in the game, and still, not one record deal. Crazy, right?" He chuckled, but his eyes stayed sharp on the road. "Industry don't want real rappers anymore. They want clowns with rainbow hair." I nodded, staring out the window. My head was pounding from the fryer heat and cheap headset static. "You cool with hearing a track?" he asked. I rubbed my temples. "Sorry, I've got a headache. Maybe another time." He laughed it off. 5 minutes later, he asked again. "Come on, just one. Might change your life." I shook my head. "Not tonight, sorry." By the 3rd time, I was firm. "No, I really don't feel up to it. That's when he cut the music and the car went silent. His jaw flexed in the dim glow. We turned down a darker road, and suddenly he reached to the side of his seat. My heart froze as he pulled out a gun and rested it across his lap. "You think you can just brush me off?" His voice was low, sharp. 20 years in the game, and all I got is a burned CD and no respect. "You gonna listen to this damn mixtape?" He hit the stereo. The beat kicked in, and his voice filled the car. Raw, angry verses recorded years ago. He rapped along with himself, veins bulging, eyes cutting to me for approval. "That bar was crazy, right? You caught that punchline?" My throat tightened. "Yeah, that was good." He leaned closer. "Don't lie. Be real with me." So I lied better. I forced little laughs, nodding, saying, "That's fire," whenever he stopped rapping long enough to notice me. It was terrifying. Every verse was about betrayal, haters, people doubting him. Half the lines sounded like threats dressed as rhymes. At one point he laughed bitterly. "Man, if this was 2003, I'd be on 106 in Park right now, freestyling next to AJ and Free. Instead, I'm here, rapping to a hostage. That's life." I laughed nervously, praying he didn't mean it. Then it happened. The CD started skipping. "Kakaka can't stop, stop me, now. Marcus smacked the stereo. "Man, burned this CD at my cousin's house in 2007 and it still betrays me." That was my opening. I lunged for the gun. He yelled and we wrestled, the skipping track blasting nonsense over our struggle. Bang! A shot tore through the window, glass raining everywhere. My ears rang, but I shoved with everything I had, kicking the door open. I stumbled out onto the pavement and ran. My heart was about to explode, but I knew I wasn't far from home. Every step felt like forever, but finally I saw my porch light. I threw myself inside, slammed the door, and locked it. My hands shook so bad I could barely dial 911, but I did. Through the window I saw his car sitting under the streetlight, the bass still thumping, his silhouette frozen in the driver's seat. He didn't chase. Maybe he was too busy cursing that CD. Maybe he knew the cops were on their way. I pressed my back against the wall, phone still in my hand, my whole body trembling. I'd survived, but I'd never look at an Uber ride the same way again.
I've known these people half my life. Dre's like the big brother I never had. Loud, bold, always the one to take things too far. Rico's the brains, the guy who could find anything online, legal or not. Simone's the one always recording, like she sees the world through a lens no one else does. And Tasha, she's the calm in the storm, the only one who can keep me steady when things go sideways. That night was supposed to be simple. Just my birthday, a few drinks, some laughs. Dre said he had a surprise coming, something next level. I should have known better. When the knock came at the door, Dre grinned like he just pulled off a magic
Happy
trick.
birthday, man.
And then she walked in, the stripper. She didn't say a word, just stepped into the center of the room and started moving. At first we were hyped, everyone cheering, laughing, phones out. The lights flickered, but we thought it was part of the show. Then the music changed, slowed down, warped, heavy like it was pulling us under. Her movements matched the rhythm, smooth and slow, almost unreal. Next thing I knew, we were all moving with her. Rico, Dre, Tasha, even Simone. All of us swaying like the air itself was controlling us. The cabin felt warmer, the lights dimmed to this soft red glow. Everything blurred together, the music, her eyes, her voice humming through the speakers, though she never opened her mouth. Simone lifted her phone to record, still smiling, still caught in that rhythm. That's when things started to slip. The lights flickered again, longer this time. The music distorted. I looked around, and for a second, no one was dancing. Not even her. Just frozen. Then all the devices went off at once. Phones, speakers, even Rico's laptop. The screens all showed her,
the stripper, staring straight into the camera. That's when I realized she wasn't performing, she was connected. Rico shouted that his laptop was moving on its own, showing feeds from cameras we didn't even have. Simone kept filming, whispering, backing away, still pointing her phone toward the stripper. The lights flashed, and just like that, Simone was gone. Her phone hit the floor, still recording static. On Rico's screen, the line popped up. Connected user 3.
I thought this weekend job was going to be a breeze. Me and Ty, running top flight security, handling crazy nightclub shifts, sketchy warehouses, we've seen it all. So when this old lady called and offered $25,000 for 2 nights at some nursing home called Crescent Pines, I didn't even hesitate. Bro, that's easy money, Ty said, tossing the contract on the desk. 2 nights? We in and out, man, I laughed. Yeah, unless the old folks decide to throw hands over bingo. We rolled up to the place. Brick building in the middle of nowhere. Fog so thick it stuck to your skin. The sign out front read Crescent Pines, where the moon never sets. Right then I felt it. Something wasn't right. Inside, the place smelled like bleach and old carpet. The lights flickered like they couldn't make up their mind. And that nurse at the front desk, her smile was too wide, too still. "We're so glad top flight security could join us," she said, voice soft, melodic. "The residents have been waiting for you." I glanced at Ty. He just shrugged like he'd seen it all. I didn't shrug. Around midnight, I heard humming from room 504. I went to check it out. There he was, an old man in a wheelchair, eyes closed, chanting. "Sir, you okay?" I asked. He turned slowly. His eyes glowed pale white. "They'll take what's young to keep what's old." Then, before I could react, he stood up, his joints cracking, and bolted down the hall at superhuman speed. I stumbled back, hand on my flashlight, heart hammering. "Yo, Ty, you see that?" "Yeah, bro. He's gone," Ty said, voice tense.
Did you see that? Ain't no way, bro. What the hell is this place?
The next night, some staff were missing, the rest acting like robots. Ty found a storage room with boxes labeled Phase 3, Essence Transfer. Vials, books, photos of missing employees with eyes blacked out. I swallowed hard. Then the intercom crackled. "All residents, please report to the main hall. It's time for rejuvenation." We peeked in. Candles in a perfect circle. Residents standing tall, eyes glowing silver. Nurses kneeling, blank-eyed. Ms. Harrow at the center, pale, silver blonde hair in a tight bun, arms raised. Energy swirled around her, shooting into the residents. Wrinkles vanished, hair darkened. They looked powerful. "Ty, we gotta move," I hissed. A nurse lunged at me, eyes white, veins glowing. I swung my baton, her body cracked like glass. Ty fired his taser. Sparks flew. Candles exploded. The sigil on the floor shattered. We sprinted. Smoke, fire, debris. The hallways blurred past us. We dove into our SUV, engines roaring, speeding off. Behind us, Crescent Pines glowed blue and imploded. 2 weeks later, the news said the nursing home mysteriously burned down. No survivors. But then I saw a billboard for a new wellness retreat, and the woman in the ad looked exactly like Miss Harrow, just younger. I sat at our top flight security office with Ty. Next time someone calls us for a weekend gig, I'm asking if there's a full moon involved. "Facts," Ty said. "No more nursing homes." Then, a knock at the door. Silver eyes, sweet smile. "I hear you boys handle private security." Under moonlight, the neon sign flickered. I knew it wasn't over.
Stay off the 5th floor. Elevator doesn't stop there anyway.
The year was 2011 when I moved into Castle Park Apartments in St. Louis with my son, Jaden. I was 31, tired, and trying to start over after a rough few years. The place looked old but solid. Tall red bricks, rusted balconies that still flickered when the wind blew. Rent was low, too low. That should have been my first warning. The building manager, Mr. Graves, met us out front. He was a tall African-American man in his mid-50s, dark skin, low fade, always in the same wrinkled gray suit. His smile never reached his eyes. He told me, "Elevator works fine, just don't go to the 5th floor." Jaden, 6 years old, full of life, tugged my sleeve. He looked up at the building and said it looked like a castle. I told him that made us royalty, and he laughed, not noticing the curtain on the top floor move, like someone was watching us. That first night, I met Mr. Haynes in the hallway. He was an older African-American man, skin the color of rich soil, gray beard, dark glasses that hid his eyes. He leaned on a wooden cane with deep scratches carved into it. He opened his door and whispered, "You hear that humming yet?" I didn't, but that night, after I put Jaden to bed, I heard it. A low vibration coming from the vent above the fridge. It wasn't the heater. It wasn't the pipes. It was something alive, breathing through the walls. Months passed, and I almost forgot about the hum. The sound became part of the building like rain or traffic.
They're watching us through the vents.
Mommy, the lady said she misses her baby.
Don't trust the elevator.
Then, one night, I found Jaden sitting on his bed with a flashlight pointed at the vent. He was whispering. I asked who he was talking to. He said, "The lady in the vent. She misses her baby. She said the elevator hurts." A chill ran through me. I leaned closer to the vent, and I swear I heard a voice whisper back. Soft, raspy, almost human. It said, "Don't trust the elevator." A week later, I couldn't sleep. I turned on the TV for background noise, but the screen filled with static. Slowly, an image faded in. My own living room, from above. I was sitting on the couch, just like I was in real life. The TV showed me watching myself. I pulled the plug out of the wall. The picture didn't change. Then a voice came from the vent, low and mechanical. "We see you." I slept with every light on that night. A few days later, the elevator broke. I was headed down to the laundry room and it stopped midway. The lights flickered. The panel glitched. Then the button for the 5th floor lit up by itself. When the doors opened, red emergency lights flashed through the hallway. The air smelled like bleach and rust. There were hospital beds lining the walls, restraints hanging loose. Each door I passed had a metal tag. Cognitive reprogramming, auditory control, behavioral reintroduction. Something moved at the end of the hall. Slow, heavy breathing echoed in the dark. I ran back into the elevator and pressed every button until the doors finally shut.
I found an old brown folder in the 5th floor hallway before I got back on the elevator. The label said Subject 34, Behavioral Reintroduction. Inside was a photograph. It was Mr. Haynes, younger, wired to a metal chair with a blank expression. At the bottom of the page, the report read, "Released into population. Memory suppression successful." My phone buzzed. No signal. One message on the screen. "We see you." The next morning, the apartment was too quiet. No hum. Not even the sound of the city outside. Jaden's bed was empty. His Spider-Man slippers sat neatly by the door. I ran through the halls knocking on doors. No one answered. When I came back, the TV turned on by itself. The screen showed the 5th floor again. Jaden stood in the hallway, holding the hand of a woman in a hospital gown. Her hair was matted, her skin pale. When she turned to face the camera, I realized she looked exactly like me.
Jaden!
She
Where
smiled.
are you?
I woke up on a cold tile floor. The air burned my throat. I was wearing a thin white gown, barefoot, surrounded by flickering monitors. Each one showed rows of people sitting still with empty eyes. Then I saw us, me and Jaden, side by side in matching gowns, unmoving. A sound behind me, slow breathing. I turned. He was standing there, tall, pale skin, hidden behind a smooth white mask with two hollow eyes. His lab coat was filthy, the edges stained with something dark. He held a recorder to his mouth, his voice calm, emotionless. Subjects 35 and 35A adapting well. Continue MK Ultra protocol. He tilted his head slowly, as if studying me. Then he whispered, almost inside my ear, "Don't wake up yet." Every screen exploded into static. The noise filled my head until everything went black.
Lost Memphis mixtape that drives people insane.
I'm Jarvis, an aspiring podcaster and music blogger from the quiet suburbs on the outskirts of Cleveland. I've spent years hunting for rare music, digging through crates, streaming content, and posting my discoveries online. My TikTok page has always been my stage, a place to share my finds with anyone who will listen, but lately, I've been feeling like my big break is just out of reach. I've always had an obsession with the underground, the rare, the forgotten, vinyl, cassettes, mixtapes that didn't make it into the mainstream. The thrill is in uncovering something no one else has, holding history in my hands and sharing it with the world. And deep down, I've always hoped for that one story, that one rare find that could finally blow up my page and prove I'm more than just another suburban kid with headphones. Scrolling through TikTok late at night, I stumble on a video that makes me freeze. The caption flashes, "The cursed Memphis mixtape that drove people insane." The clip shows a grainy shot of a black cassette spinning on a dusty counter, the label reading, "Delete Me, Volume 1, Lord No Clip." The narrator explains the backstory. Lord No Clip was a horrorcore rapper from Memphis in the 1990s, obsessed with dark magic and sigils hidden in his music. The video says the mixtape was pulled from stores decades ago after listeners reportedly went mad, committing crimes, harming themselves, or worse. Only a handful of physical copies were ever made, making the tape almost mythical. My pulse quickens. Having the actual tape? That's more than a story, that's legend. And I can't stop thinking about my TikTok followers, the likes, the comments, the chance to finally blow my page up overnight with a rare find no one else has ever seen. This isn't just about collecting music anymore. This could be my big break. The narrator goes on, showing old magazine clippings and photos of Lord No Clip performing in Memphis. The distorted beats in the clip echo faintly from my phone, and for a second, I feel a chill creep up my spine. Part of me feels danger, but the other part is already consumed by curiosity. I replay the video. I need to see it, hold it, hear it. I need the story, and I need the fame. The next day, I'm at the wax spot, unpacking boxes of cassettes, headphones slung around my neck. Then I see it. There it is, the black cassette labeled "Delete Me Volume 1, Lord No Clip," sitting in the corner of a dusty crate like it had been waiting just for me. My chest tightens, a mix of excitement and nervous energy surging through me. I can't believe I actually found it. It feels like fate, like the universe finally handed me the opportunity I've been waiting for. This isn't just another rare find. It's the story that could put me on the map, the chance to finally blow up my TikTok page and prove I'm more than just another podcaster. As I hold it in my hands, I can feel the weight of history, the echoes of all the people who listened before and couldn't handle it. A shiver runs down my spine, but I can't stop staring. This tape, it's meant for me. It's my big break, and I know it. I'm locking up for the night when an old pastor appears, standing there in a black suit and newsboy hat. His voice is low and raspy. "Evening, son." "You work here?" "Yeah, we close in 10, I said. "You got some dangerous things in there." "Some records carry more than sound." "What do you mean?" I asked. Everything that's ever been said into a mic leaves an echo. The holy and the wicked both live in words. Some of that music wasn't made to be heard again. If you ever find something that feels wrong, son, don't play it. Some songs don't just get in your head, they get in your spirit, he said. I stand frozen, his words hitting me harder than I expect. There's a weight to them, a gravity that settles in my chest. It's almost as if he knows, as if the universe itself is whispering a warning straight into my soul. The timing of it all twists my stomach. I just found the mixtape, the rare black cassette that everyone says is cursed. Could it really be coincidence that this pastor appeared right after that? My mind races. I feel a mix of dread and awe, like some invisible hand has led me to this exact moment. And yet, I brush it off. I can't let fear get in the way of opportunity. This could be my big break, the story, the find, the content that finally puts my TikTok page on the map. His words echo in my head, but I push them aside, convinced that I'm in control and ready to take the risk.
You got some dangerous things in there. Some records carry more than sound.
Back home, I set up my phone on the tripod and hit record. My TikTok followers are already waiting. I can feel the numbers ticking up in anticipation. I hold the black cassette up to the camera. What's up, y'all? It's your boy J Rhymes. Benton, this is something you've never seen before, I whisper. Before I even press play, I start explaining what I know about the scene it came from. Memphis horrorcore, I say, isn't just rap. It's an underground legacy. Artists like Lord No Clip, Tommy Wright III, and even early 3-6 Mafia pushed dark themes, violent imagery, and occult symbolism into their music. These were tapes meant to provoke, to haunt, to leave an echo in your mind long after the beat stopped. It is rumored they would make something called rap sigils that took 7 steps to make. Step 1, unalive someone. 2, record it. 3, chop the audio and sample it. 4, return to unaliving scene. 5, rap over the beat with the homies. 6, put it on a mixtape. 7, the sigil is made. I hold the tape tighter. The lyrics are layered with intent, like a spell. It's not just music, it's a ritual captured on tape. Some listeners reportedly lost themselves entirely, committing crimes, harming themselves, or worse, all tied to the energy in the music. The comments scroll fast. Play it, they beg. We want to see. I take a deep breath and hit play. The tape clicks and whirs, the bass deep and distorted. The camera picks up nothing unusual at first, just the tape spinning and my nervous grin. But almost immediately, the LEDs start flickering. Shadows twist oddly in the corners of the room. A chill runs down my spine, and I swear I see shapes moving just beyond the frame of the camera. I reach to stop it, but my hand hesitates. Then I finally hit pause. The sudden silence is heavier than the music. The hum of the fluorescent lights warps. The shadows linger longer than they should. My equipment glitches, the screen blurring with static. Comments flood the chat. What was that? Did you see that behind him? That's cursed. I sit frozen, staring at the screen. Even though I turned the tape off, the room doesn't feel right. Something in the air has shifted. It's as if the energy of the mixtape, the sigils, the intent, the history, refuses to leave. My pulse races, and I realize I've unleashed something that doesn't just live in the tape. It's here, in my space, in the live stream, and it's watching. Sleep leaves me. The mixtape is stuck in my head, looping endlessly, even though I've tried to ignore it. Every beat, every distorted lyric, every whisper from Lord No Clip feels like it's carved into my mind. I start to regret ever pressing play. I shouldn't have touched it. I shouldn't have shown it to anyone. And yet, I can't stop thinking about it. The tape follows me everywhere. I see it in the corners of my room, in the shadows behind my eyes, in reflections on the glass of my windows. Even when I close my eyes, I hear the bass, the warped melodies, the haunting chants. Like the music has taken root in my brain, a parasite I can't shake. I try to distract myself, scrolling, working, talking to friends, but nothing works. It's like the mixtape has a life of its own. It's stalking me, whispering, reminding me of its presence in every quiet moment. Every creak of my apartment, every flicker of light feels like it's tied to the music, to the sigils hidden in those beats. I hate myself for it. I hate that I wanted it so badly. But worse than that, I'm terrified that it doesn't care about my regret. It doesn't care that I want it gone. I'm trapped in its rhythm, and I know there's no escaping it. It's 10 p.m., just minutes before closing, and the shop is quiet except for the hum of the fluorescent lights. I'm wiping down counters trying to keep my nerves steady, but I can't shake the feeling that something is watching me. The cassette starts whispering from the corner where I left it earlier. Shadows stretch unnaturally across the walls. The lights flicker in rhythm with a bass I swear isn't coming from the speakers. My reflection in the glass moves slightly out of sync with me, and every so often, I catch a flicker of shapes in the back room that vanish when I look directly at them. I try to tell myself it's my imagination, that I'm just tired from obsessing over the tape all day. Then, the bell above the door jingles. 2 customers come in, a couple looking for something specific. I remember greeting them, guiding them to the shelves, and then everything goes black. I don't remember anything after that. The shop is silent. The tape sits innocently on the counter, and I'm left with a growing dread that whatever had just taken over the room hasn't finished with me yet.
I wake up in a small jail cell. My head throbs, my mind blank, like someone erased the last hours. Fluorescent lights hum above. I sit on the cold metal bunk and whisper, "How did I get here?" A guard steps inside, eyes wary. "You stabbed 2 customers at the store," he says flatly. "You're lucky they're alive." Everyone's talking about how lucky they are. My stomach drops. Sitting on the metal bunk, I finally start to piece things together. My TikTok, it went viral. Millions of views overnight. Everyone was talking about the tape, my live stream, the story. I got what I wanted. Fame, attention, recognition, but it came in the worst way possible. The guard comes by, reading from his tablet. "Sir, the video you posted, people are copying what they saw. There's been a spike in crimes, assaults, even suicides linked to it. No one knows why, but it all traces back to that tape you showed." My chest tightens. The mix of excitement I'd felt just days ago is gone, replaced with a gnawing, hollow regret. I wanted my big break, and I got it, but at what cost? The tape isn't just a recording, it's a curse. And my hands, my actions, my video, it's all part of it. I press play, and now the world is paying. I bury my face in my hands, wishing I could undo everything, wishing I could stop the music from echoing beyond my control. But it's too late. I've unleashed something I can't take back, and I have to live with it. I'm sitting on the metal bunk, lost in thought, when the door opens. My heart jumps. It's the pastor. I wasn't expecting him, and seeing him brings a strange mix of surprise and relief. For the first time in days, I feel a flicker of hope. He's in a dark gray overcoat, white shirt, black tie, and his familiar newsboy hat. He carries a worn Bible, opening it carefully. He looks at me and says, "Lord, have mercy on him." Some spirits, son, once they get in you, only grace can pull them out. I whisper, "Did I do something bad?" He sighs and looks me in the eye. Some songs write themselves in blood. You just press play. He kneels briefly beside my bunk and prays for me, his voice low and raspy, asking for protection, guidance, and the removal of any dark influence that might still cling to me. After a few moments, he stands and presses the Bible into my hands. "Read this. Let it be your anchor, son. You need something to hold on to, now more than ever."
As he leaves, I feel the weight of the world pressing less on my shoulders. I'm still trapped in the aftermath of what I unleashed, but seeing him and knowing someone cares, it gives me a sliver of hope. I grip the Bible tightly, the echoes of the tape still whispering in my mind, but for the first time, I feel like maybe I have a chance to fight back.
Just look at him, so focused. Seems like yesterday he was just starting kindergarten.
My name is Malik. I grew up on the south side of Chicago. Not the picture people paint when they don't know what they're talking about. My parents, both African American, both working long hours, both believing discipline and love could outweigh gunshots and police sirens. Inside that house, we were safe. At least that's what they wanted me to believe. But you can't ignore reality when you hear bullets flying past your window while you're trying to finish a math worksheet. My big brother, Darius, he didn't always listen like I did. He was smart, just angry at a system that never played fair with us. And even back then, I wondered why things in our neighborhoods always seemed to go wrong, and why help always showed up too slow, or never. I told myself I'd stay focused, be the one who made it out clean. But even as a kid, I could feel something wasn't right with the way this city worked, almost like someone wanted it to stay broken. Losing Darius changed everything. One minute he was just my stubborn big brother, the one who always told me to keep my head on straight, even when he wouldn't. The next minute, I was staring at a folded flag and listening to people talk like he was just another statistic in the city. They said he was in the wrong place at the wrong time, caught in a crossfire, like hundreds of other black men every year. But the way it all happened, how fast the case went cold, how nobody seemed to care enough to push for answers, that stuck with me. I told myself the best way to honor him was to do the opposite of what the streets expected. Go to school, serve my country, build a family, and maybe keep someone else from ending up like Darius.
All right, pay attention to the tactical flowchart on the wall. We move as a unit, synchronized and disciplined. Keep that formation tight.
After college and 2 years in the National Guard, I thought doors would open for me. A degree, discipline, a clean record. I checked every box they said would guarantee success. But job after job turned me down, like all the hard work I put in wasn't enough. Meanwhile, I had a wife depending on me, a baby on the way. I needed something real, a career with a steady paycheck, benefits, health insurance. So when the police department came calling, offering 6 figures and the chance to make a difference, yeah, I took it. I told myself I'd be one of the good ones. I'd wear that badge the right way. And maybe, just maybe, I could protect somebody else's brother before it was too late. My first night on the job felt like the start of everything I worked for. Fresh uniform, new badge, all that pride sitting right on my chest. That was when I met my partner, Detective Doyle, mid-40s, white, chubby, clean-shaven, with a bubbly personality that made him instantly approachable, but seasoned enough in the field to know things I didn't. He carried himself like the rules didn't apply to him, not because he broke them, but because he wrote them. He called me rookie with a grin like he'd already decided who I was and what I could handle. And me? I was just trying to prove I belonged. But even during all that celebration, something in the air felt off. Like beneath the joy, the city was holding its breath. By day 3, I was settling into the rhythm. The night before, Doyle and I cruised through the neighborhood while he chewed on beef jerky like he couldn't live without it. He cracked jokes, pointed out old cases, made the city feel almost simple. But the next day, reality hit harder. We pulled up to a backyard cookout on 79th. Grills still smoking, music still playing, but fear had taken over the block. A teenage boy was down, shot in the leg, still breathing, but shaken, and bleeding into the grass where he'd just been dancing. Other officers were there, jotting notes, interviewing family. Doyle stayed back, arms crossed, watching me with that relaxed grin. "Asking questions is good practice, rookie," he said, leaning against the squad car like he was watching a show. I tried to comfort the mother. She was shaking too hard to speak at first. No fight, no warnings. Nobody saw a car. Shots came out of nowhere, and whoever did it disappeared without a trace. It didn't feel like a mistake. It felt like someone was sending a message, and not to that family. The nights kept getting louder. Fireworks. Or maybe not fireworks. Every time something exploded in the distance, my shoulders jumped before my brain could catch up. Doyle drove us through a narrow alley. Garbage cans tipped over. Stray dog digging for scraps. He joked about it smelling like his ex's cooking. I laughed, but my eyes stayed busy. That's when I saw it. A patrol unit tucked behind a dumpster. Driver's door dented in hard. Headlight shattered. Side mirror dangling by wires. I slid out of the car and approached slowly. Doyle stayed behind, leaning against our patrol car, chewing beef jerky like nothing was wrong. Another officer stood beside the damaged vehicle, shaking his head, clearly rattled. "Everything good?" I asked. He nodded, too quickly. "Just kids throwing bricks," he lied. Badly. Standing there, alone in the alley, I realized this city was full of secrets, and some of them were closer than I thought. Doyle didn't seem worried at all, but that calm felt wrong. By the middle of the week, the city was tired. People lit candles, laid flowers, and whispered prayers at the street memorial for someone who had already been murdered. When I arrived, the scene was chaotic in a different way. The shots had already been fired. Masked men had torn through the crowd earlier, leaving panic, overturned chairs, and scorched grass in their wake. People were still trembling, hugging each other, trying to make sense of what had happened. I crouched down beside a woman, mid-20s, African American, who had come to mourn a friend. Her hands shook as she spoke. They were wearing masks, she said. Like they weren't really themselves. Doyle leaned against the squad car in the background, arms crossed, smirking. He laughed softly. "Rookie, don't get spooked by a story," he said, tossing a joke at me about how every shooter in the city looks like a masked superhero these days. But I couldn't laugh. Seeing the aftermath, the fear still clinging to the people, the candles toppled over, the ground scorched from the chaos. It hit me harder than anything before. It didn't make sense. It shouldn't make sense. And Doyle's casual smirk, his laughter, made it worse. Something about this city and these people was broken in ways I couldn't ignore.
He just looked off. His skin was pale, almost gray.
All right, take your time. What else did you see?
Doyle told me to take the car by myself that night. "Go get a feel for the city, rookie," he said, leaning back like he didn't have a care in the world. I nodded, sliding behind the wheel, trying to ignore the gnawing feeling in my gut. 30 minutes into patrol, the radio went dead. Static, then silence. I tried every channel, every unit. Nothing. Even the walkie-talkies were silent. I drove through the streets, festival lights flickering overhead, music booming, fireworks spilling color across the skyline. People laughed and danced, oblivious to the tension I felt creeping through the city. And that's when I saw them. A group of officers, in plain view, in the middle of the festival, wearing masks that looked like African American faces. Realistic. Too realistic. One officer wasn't wearing his mask yet, He held it in his hand and waved, thinking I was Doyle. The tinted windows on my patrol car hid my expression as I tried to make sense of it all. 10 minutes passed before the radio finally crackled back to life. Dispatch came through, frantic. Another shooting, a predominantly black neighborhood. Right around the same time the radio and walkie-talkies went dead. And then it all hit me. All the chaos in the neighborhoods, the timing, the criminals who somehow always struck hardest during holidays, when the city would be packed with police. It wasn't random, it was orchestrated. And the people behind it, the ones who were supposed to protect us, were the same ones pulling the strings. I felt my stomach drop, a cold weight in my chest. The Chicago Police Department, the system I trusted, the badge I wore, it had betrayed me, my city, and my people.
You hear me, son? 10 o'clock, you're inside. And don't you go listening to those voices out there past the fence.
Yes, sir.
When I first got down to Mound Bayou, Mississippi, it felt like stepping back in time. The house smelled like fried catfish and cornbread, and the air was thick with heat and dust. Grandpa was sitting at the table, serious as ever. Big hands folded, eyes sharp like he could see straight through me. He told me the rules before I could even unpack my bag. You don't open no doors after 10, and you don't step outside once that sun goes down. He said it plain, like he'd said it 100 times before. I just nodded, half listening, thinking he was being old school. But that's how it always was with Grandpa, firm, steady, and no room for talking back. He worked that land his whole life, out here in Mound Bayou, one of the first all-black towns in America, built from nothing by freedmen who wanted a place of their own. Folks around here took pride in that. I didn't get it back then. I was just mad I got sent here. I remember looking out that window, the cornfields stretching forever, the sky turning gold over the trees. I told myself I'd stick to the rules, keep my head down, and count the days till I could go home. But Mississippi had other plans. That night, the house was too quiet. You could hear every creak, every bug outside humming. Grandpa went to bed early, and I was just sitting there, staring at the clock. 10 o'clock came and went, that number he warned me about. I told myself rules were for kids. I needed some air. Truth is, I went outside to smoke. I wasn't quitting cold turkey just because I was in Mississippi. I stepped out on the back patio, leaned against the rail, and lit one up. The first drag hit smooth, but the air felt heavier out there, thick, like something was sitting on it. The cornfield swayed slow in the wind, and I remember thinking how quiet Mississippi nights really were. Too quiet. For a minute, it felt peaceful, the kind of peace I didn't know in the city. Then the crickets stopped. The air went dead still. That's when I heard it. A voice. Darius. My heart dropped. It sounded just like my pop's. I froze, my hand still holding the smoke halfway to my mouth. I looked around the yard, then laughed to myself like an idiot. Ain't no way, I said. Man, this must be that AK-47 acting up. I really thought maybe my stuff was laced or something. But then, the voice called my name again. I thought I was imagining it at first. The smoke, the quiet. Maybe I was tripping. But then I heard it again, clear, close, familiar. Darius, come here, son. It was my father's voice. Same calm tone he used to call me when I was little. But he'd been dead 6 years, shot when I was 10. My chest tightened, my stomach flipped, and the night air felt heavier, like it was pressing down on me. The sound, low and deliberate, rattling, like someone or something moving through the corner of the cornfield behind me. My heart skipped, I froze, trying to tell myself it was just a raccoon or the wind, but the sound didn't stop. Scratching, dragging, slow, patient, right in the shadows between the rows. The rattling kept coming, and every nerve in my body screamed, "Don't turn around." I hopped off the patio rail and took a step back toward the house, and noticed Grandpa quietly standing inside the doorway, just watching. No words, just eyes locked on the field, calm, steady, deadly serious. That look told me everything. Get inside. Don't test it. I froze, heart hammering. The voice called again, this time twisted, unnatural, like it was learning how to sound human. I swallowed hard, knowing it wasn't my dad. Grandpa's voice cut through the night. Grandpa. "Darius, get in the house. That ain't your father. Now move." I didn't hesitate. I bolted inside. Grandpa shut the door behind me, locked it, and I pressed my back against it, breath shaking. Outside, the scratching kept coming. The red Mississippi dust swirled under the door, and I could hear the wind through the corn whispering like 1,000 voices all at once. Grandpa stood there, calm as ever, watching. He didn't say much, just made sure I stayed put. That night, I realized some rules weren't meant to be broken, and some voices were never what they seemed. Once I was inside, Grandpa didn't waste a second. He slammed the kitchen door and grabbed a chair to push against it, then stacked a few heavy boxes along the frame. Dust from the floor swirled in the lamplight as he worked, each thud of wood against wood echoing in the quiet house. I was still shaking, staring at him when he spoke. "You see, Darius, what's out there ain't your daddy, not even close. That's a skinwalker. They can sound like the ones you miss most. They can even look like them if you ain't careful. But they ain't real. They only want one thing, to get you outside." I swallowed hard. My stomach flipped. A what?" I stammered. Grandpa shook his head. "Call it what you want. Trickster, shapeshifter, whatever. They walk at night. And around here, son, they get bold after 10. He stepped back, eyeing the cornfields visible through the kitchen window. The red dust outside stirred like smoke. "We're safe in here for now, but don't even think about opening that door." He glanced at me, serious as the Mississippi sun. "Understand?" I nodded, heart still hammering, knowing I'd just crossed into a world I didn't fully understand. We barely had time to catch our breath when it started. Scratching, claws dragging across the kitchen door, heavy, deliberate, testing the wood. And then it spoke. "Darius, come here, son." My father's voice. I froze, but it wasn't him. Not really. It was twisted, wrong, like some creature trying too hard to sound like my dad. The sound clawed at my chest, made my stomach flip, and I wanted to run, but I couldn't. Grandpa didn't flinch. He stepped up, shotgun in hand, aimed straight at the door. "Stay back, boy," he said, calm and steady. The scratching got louder, more frantic, and the voice called again, deeper and guttural now, still mimicking my father. Grandpa pulled the trigger. The blast echoed through the kitchen. Dust exploded from the frame, and the thing outside screamed, a horrible mix of growl and human sound that froze my blood. Red Mississippi dust swirled under the door from the blast. I pressed my back against the counter, wide-eyed, heart hammering. "That's what I'm talking about," Grandpa muttered, shoving another chair against the door. "They'll try again. They always do. But we ain't letting none of 'em in." I couldn't move. My mind raced. That night, I finally understood. Grandpa's rules weren't old-fashioned nonsense. They were the only thing keeping us alive. By the time the sun came up, the house was quiet again. The birds were the only sound. No scratching, No whispers, just morning. Grandpa and I sat out on the porch, both of us staring at the fields like we were waiting for the night to prove it was really gone. After a while, I stood up and went back to grab my book bag. I'd left it on the porch the night before, the same spot I'd been standing when everything started. It was still there, untouched. I picked it up slow, half expecting something to move in the corn, but nothing did. Grandpa sipped his coffee and looked at me. "Now you see why I got rules, boy," he said. I nodded, not saying a word. I finally understood. That summer, I stayed with him, worked the land, learned discipline, and figured out who I didn't want to be. By the time I went back home to St. Louis, I was different. Started doing better in school, stopped running with the wrong crowd. Grandpa didn't just set me straight. He saved me. And every now and then, when the night gets too quiet, I still think about that voice calling my name from the fields. But I don't look back, because I remember exactly what he told me. After 10, don't open the door.